Hello. In this tutorial, we're going to continue working with a terrain we created inside the world machine and that we're texturing inside the substance. Only right now, we'll take this terrain and import inside the Terragen and apply those materials. So right here, example, you can see it's a render inside the Terragen 4.4 with a new path tracing engine. And we applied some materials. It does have some limitation when we're creating this terrain because some not supporting of PBR materials we created substance, but we can simulate this and creating this nice sand-like look. So let's go ahead and start working on this. Hello. So in this tutorial, I want to look on the files that we created before inside the world machine, and we also create with the substance creating our texture. So how we can take this and implement and put it inside the Terragen. Okay, so to refresh some stuff, if you remember this, we created a simple terrain. So we can kind of preview right here. You can, if you remember right here, we created this terrain and we took it inside after export, but as exporting was using our output with a highfield options, if you remember, and we're using TFF. If you work with a Terragen and you going as your workflow, I do recommend to use a Terragen export. It will be TR. In this case, you will have it height and everything, but because we export as TFF inside the Terragen, we all going to use just those image. So in this case, we'll have it consistency. If you are importing as TER file, it will be better on the height, on the sizes, but it won't be that big different from what we're going to do. So let's look right here. This is our default view. Okay, we can zoom out a little bit. And we have it our infinite terrain, which is creating here, and we have it our ropes. And right here is our simple. So we'll take all of this stuff. We don't need it. Let's delete it. Now we have it open shape. Now what we're going to do is inside the terrain, we'll go add terrain and we're going to just use it highfield load. So let's go ahead, click to load it file. Inside we navigate to world machine directory where we have it. And right here, you notice we have a Terragen. Instead, we're just using TF file and select our highfield. So let's go ahead, click OK, and there we have it, our terrain preloaded. In some cases, you maybe need modify height and width, and you can go inside the properties. But overall, this is about right height and height and widths and all that stuff. I think it's about right. Okay, so next, what I want to do, it is overlay our maps that we created, highfield maps. So to do this, we need work in our shaders. So let's go ahead, right click, and we're going to create shader, color shader right here. And we're going to select as color image map. So as image map, we'll go back to our assets directory. Let's go to substance where we created, and we'll just select our terrain. Okay, let's go ahead, open. And now we need to take from our compute terrain, connect to our main output, and we'll connect to, okay, let's go ahead, adjust a little bit here, and we'll connect output to our path. We don't need base color in this case. We can use it for next, but again, in this case, we will going to use it. To make visible, let's enable our checkbox to enable our texture. And you can see we have it one displayed. So let's double time click on the texture to open. This is our map shaders. We want to position to the center. And our size, if you again look on our map, and for this, let's go to highfield. Right here, our size is 2048 by 2048. Again, we use it default. If you remember originally, it was 19 kilometers, I think, by 19 kilometers. So we'll just leave it right now 10,000 kilometers by 10,000. We could increase just to be sure. Just let's go ahead right here to 19 by 19. Okay, but we still use exactly 2048 by 2048. So let's go back to our image And right here, we'll go 2048 by 2048. We'll click OK. And you can see at this moment, this is our terrain. Okay, we can go just a little bit adjust, maybe around here. Let's copy our camera to new position. We can also enable lighting and clouds, and you can see we have our terrain applied. So again, this is just a basic preset, and you can see how fast we're done. A few things with materials we can work around, because if we open our material, you can see we have our displacement, so we could apply additional displacement to this and mask by the shader, so we can create some additional options and we can play with this same as effect. But problem is, what we have it before, it was substance, it was PBR type materials, so we could apply some of this, but it not directly supporting, so we don't necessarily have it some of those effect like metallic colors, ambience, all that stuff, but we could just improve a little bit on this. So let's go see what we can do with that. Okay, so let's go see how we can bring details a little bit more. And again, we have a limitation, but for example, if I want to pop up a little bit extra details, I can go to create a new shader. We'll go displacement shader. So we'll have it right here, one displacement shader. We'll go create a new shader, color shader, another image map. And image map, we can just go ahead, select map one we selected before, set this as a function, compute terrain, again, go to main output and select back. So at this point, if remember what we need to do, we need modify, because otherwise we'll have it, let's just example. So if we have it multiplier higher, crazy, you can see it's about right there zone, because our image, okay, let's open our, double tap, click on the image. Our image position is wrong, so we want to center 2048 by, again, 2048, so we'll be right here. Okay, and now in our displacement, we can maybe set somewhere around 3. Oops. 6 may work as well. Okay, so we can do this, and that is just add a little bit more details as a bump map. Again, we can layer same things, we can layer additional elements to this with the additional materials, but again, it will be somewhat simulation. We can utilize some of those layers, but it's not necessarily will be going with PBR, but we can add same things. Let's go here, we can create a new shader, displacement shader. Let's go with a fake stones, and we'll just apply fake stones before. Okay, we'll go right here, stone scalability, let's go make it a bit smaller, pop-up density. Okay, we'll go to the shape, let's make them increase pancakes effect, and we can also little bit, but coloring won't necessarily work in this case, because remember we're going before applying image map to this, but I think that will work. And here we created kind of look for our terrain. Let's go zoom out slightly, and just to play around with this, we'll go with atmospheres. Let's pop up our haze, maybe just a little bit more on this, density on the blue sky. Just make a little bit more hazy right there with the mountains, because it's 19 kilometers, so we'll try to do this. Our lighting, let's go take sunlight and maybe drop down to about 20 degrees, a little bit more warmer, and rotate slightly so we have it maybe too dark shadows. Let's go to switch. Yeah, so we have it shot a little bit right there from positioning. Okay, I think this is we don't need clouds. They will a little bit up. Let's even maybe zoom out a little bit more around here. There you go. Okay, let's set our camera, and we'll go also to our render properties, and I want maybe 1920 by 1080. We're going to pop up a little bit on anti-aliasing quality, not too much, but right here pop up a little bit on details. But I think this will work about right, and we can go ahead and start rendering. Actually, let's switch couple elements and go ahead. So right here we render. I'm going to pause for a second till render completed so we can see our image. Okay, so our render is completed, and it took about 1 minute to render, but you can notice because we applied additional materials, instead smooth, and we can compare in a second if you're interested. But overall, fake rocks and a little bit of displacement is what created this. You can see on the side a little bit more natural look on a mountain, so it's not just very smooth otherwise. Overall, here's the very simple steps how you can take the map that we created inside the world machine and create some texturing, and you can see some of those color maps we created inside the substance, and same use this to create our mountain simple scenery view inside the Terragen.